Right, right,
You have
exactly.
to do this.
Yeah.
Right, wait,
Yeah.
that's
You
what,
do this with the oil
Lay it
tanks.
out.
Right.
Yeah, or fuel tanks, I should
can be
say.
done that way.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not hard over on that. You, I mean,
Mhm.
really, if you think you can do away with it.
No, I think we need it.
I mean, we just put more on the citizen committee and you as the liaison to that, we just have to, when I find the stuff out, I can just send it to you.
My concern is they haven't been able to meet in 6 months.
But we have a meeting scheduled, I think it's the,
Yeah.
Excuse me.
is it the?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I thought it was the.
That's what I had.
For the public.
I think it's the 23rd. So I see you don't have your Christmas lights lit up.
No,
I can still see your tree, but I can't
season's
see.
over.
Yeah, but your lights are so pretty, they
Michelle's
could stay
working on
on.
the tree, dismantling that.
Mine are still up because they keep forgetting to unplug them.
But they're so,
yeah.
they're so pretty. I hate
They
that.
were beautiful, and every
I kept
strand
the tree
was
up
just
2 years
perfectly
ago.
spaced.
Oh, no, it wasn't.
Oh, it was, I'm telling you.
I'm glad to see the tree downtown, but
Oh, it's so pretty.
It's pretty,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh, it's so pretty.
I had a Christmas tree left up for 2 years one time when I first got divorced. The post was like, my mother used to make, she did plastic canvas. As a matter of fact, across the street, meet Judy Corey. Okay, so this is June, okay, so Judy comes over one day, I'm like, so see, I was in the back, so I come out the front, she said, you okay? I said, yeah, I'm fine, why? She said, well, your Christmas tree's still up. I said, yeah, come on and check it out. My mother made these plastic canvas decorations every holiday. She'd come down and at St. Patrick's Day, and I don't know if you know what plastic canvas is, but it's this weaving yarn and stuff there.
Oh.
And I still got the wicked coolest thing. But I had it up for 2 years till the lights burned out, and I had to take it down. And then Tracy moved in, she said, are you gonna take this thing down? I said, what? It was nice, it's nice, come home, and it was just nice light. Oh, I light it around the house.
A friend of mine, she and I used to walk around neighborhoods where she lived and stuff, and we'd give demerit points to
Oh, yeah?
people who still had their Christmas trees and their Christmas
Still I'm getting demerit points then.
Thank
Well,
God
no,
you
it
didn't
was,
come to my
it was,
neighborhood.
it was Easter time, it was
Yeah.
time. Come
Oh,
on,
okay,
people.
oh, so good.
Oh, we had Easter bunnies, and I put peeps on the, I put peeps up.
That's
It's-
an all-purpose tree.
Right.
I have a tree
Yeah.
that I used to little tiny one for the holidays. That's not
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Here's my tree, if you would like to see my tree.
How's it going?
I delegated that in 2012 because I refused to put up a tree.
Ceramic?
No way.
Oh, no,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
made out of,
Oh.
That's funny.
Paper mache?
no,
We get 5 Christmas
Construction
trees.
paper?
what am I trying to say?
My niece put up.
Poster board.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And she made these little ornaments. You're right. Anyway, we've had it
Nice
since
light.
2012.
We're doing
Guys,
nice.
we're doing, sometimes you put up a real tree.
Okay.
I just find a lot of times I just can't.
As you
I'm not
want to
doing
order
it.
rooms
Like that year, my dad had died and he was a very
Yeah.
Christmas
Put one up this year.
And I was like, I can't do
Erica put
Christmas.
up last year.
And I was like, we are doing Christmas. So she made that tree in the bedroom and brought it down.
That's just it.
So I kept it up.
I love her.
I have a
What would you do without her?
tree that's just
Oh,
special,
wow.
like,
Yeah.
maybe
I would be a hot mess,
Yeah.
even worse than I am.
She's
Yeah.
so we didn't put that one.
Did you see it, Danielle? This is
I
my
made a
dress.
ceramic tree.
Did I show it to you already?
Like that high in 1979,
It
and that's
is-
what I put up.
It's, I know I made that in 2012.
We used to decorate all the time. All the time,
Yep.
decorate all over the place.
She even made like a
No,
little.
it doesn't make a mess.
That's right, I just fold it up and I put it in the
Take it all
drawer.
down.
But we still have 4 little ones.
Well, that's different.
That's what we have for free.
I mean, sometimes we do the roll.
And then our puppy this year, they're all in the ornaments on the bottom.
Most years I just do, I'm not doing it.
Only known.
Too much for now.
Or little nose. I was like, oh my goodness.
Charlie got all of them on Christmas.
Oh, no.
Fur was all like this, probably missing an eyeball, nose was missing an
Oh, I know.
I'm like, what happened to our tree?
No, we should do that. Is everybody okay with that?
What's that?
If we take a picture
Yeah.
for the website, 'cause we need a new.
Yeah, wait, and then my hair's on this week. So that's why I work
Do I do that right now?
Yeah.
Do I do it right now before we start
Yeah,
meeting?
let's, yeah, let's do it now.
Can we do a quick group photo, everyone?
We're just gonna sit in
You like.
We gotta go, do we want us to sit here?
I mean, it's nicer to stand, but you can sit, I mean, You're the boss, but I'm just saying, like, just want to put it on the website there. Just gotta get back far enough.
Can I stand on my chair? He does that to everyone.
You're closer.
Yeah, sorry, I'm kind of shy, I'm shy.
Oh, well, there's one, that's a new one. Okay, everyone say cheese.
Cheese.
Okay, thank you.
It'll be in the post office tomorrow.
Thank you, Chief. Good save.
Madam Mayor.
Alrighty, I think we are good if everyone turn their microphones on. So I'll call the Monday, January 8th, 2024 council meeting to order at 6 p.m. Roll call, all councilors are present. If everybody would please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, item number 3 on the agenda is public forum. Danielle, do you have anything for public forum tonight? No. No? Anybody from the public wish to speak?
Madam
Okay.
Mayor, I have a question.
Yes.
How come we don't have no invocation before we, with the Pledge of Allegiance? Is there a reason for that?
Yeah, in discussion, we've decided that because it's kind of the separation of church and state, that we were going to try going without the invocation.
Thank you.
Okay. Minutes. I don't believe we have any minutes this evening, do we?
No, we do not.
Okay, so item number 5, bid openings, awards, and appointments. 5A, we have a contract renewal with Oakleaf Systems. So we have received the 2024 contract for computer network support services with Oakleaf. This contract reflects a decrease of $50 per month. Has everyone had a chance to take a look at that? Okay, what are the wishes of the council?
First, I have a question. Okay, have the issues been resolved here as far as our communication, I guess our sound system and all the issues that have been going on down here? Is all that been resolved down here? As like tonight, for instance, okay? Can people listen to us on YouTube as well as other access points that we have here?
So I did this for the utilities district meeting on Thursday, and
Okay.
it seemed to work fine.
Okay, so that's my only thing. I mean, is that seems like we've had a lot of issues. I don't know who's actually responsible, but I just want to make sure that we are now 100% and going to remain 100%. And nothing against Oakley, but it's just, I guess now's the time to ask the question, so.
Well, I wondered whether that was supposed to be in this contract. I know it hasn't been in the past, but microphones, cameras aren't mentioned in the contract anywhere. Is that part of Oakley's responsibility? And if so, why isn't it in the contract?
He helps us with all of those things.
There's a clause, hardware. Oakley will provide services to diagnose, repair defective hardware on all our computers and network devices. When applicable, Oakley will work with the city to obtain all parts. So I guess that's kind of in there.
Well, it's good that they're doing it.
Right.
And we haven't had a problem in the past, right?
No.
So,
I mean, no, I would say I'm not the best with technology, so if there's
Right.
things that have gone wrong in some meetings, sometimes that's my fault because I'm not good at it.
well, I'm saying Oakley's responsibility.
But they will come in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and do any of that, and, I mean, they're always good about answering my questions. How about you, Danielle?
Yeah, no. Madam Mayor, I make a motion that we accept the contract as presented from Oakley Systems.
Second. Okay, so the motion has been made and seconded. Do we have any further discussion?
I did have a couple other questions in this. I noticed on the security checks, the quarterly security checks, And I'm wondering if that's industry standard, because it seems like there should be continuous monitoring of our networks for anybody trying to breach it, and to install ransomware and all those cyber attacks. I don't see that anywhere in the country. Are you aware whether they have a continuous monitoring capability to alert them if they detect any kind of an intrusion?
I can tell you that Bob has contacted us before, you know, when something has gone out that we shouldn't open, like he's monitoring that stuff. I can't tell you if it's ransomware, I can't tell you if it's malware. I just know that Bob will say, if you see something from this, don't click on it. And he regularly updates us on things not to do. And if we need to have something installed on our computers, then he makes sure that that gets done, you know, so that, and he's careful about if we have to change a password or someone is locked out, like he doesn't email the staff, he calls them, you know, to get the password straightened out and things like
I
that.
think for me, I'd like to explore the possibility of having a continuously monitored network and an alert system. At least ask the question whether that's going on. Cyber threats against municipalities are growing like crazy now, and it's costing some municipalities a tremendous amount of money to fix. And if we have things that we can do now to help protect us against that, that would be great. The city should have some kind of insurance as part of their liability insurance against data loss and all that kind of stuff. We never talked about that, and reading through this, my mind started going, and I started thinking of all these questions. But nothing wrong with the contract. I just wanted to bring those things up.
Council, just to help you out, there is a clause in this contract that says that antivirus services will be included free of charge for city-owned PC and Mac computers as part of this agreement going forward. So he has included something in his contract for that. I think like any good IT person will do. So I think I don't know what we have for antivirus here, but he has included that clause in his contract, which is good to see, so.
And there's also 7 firewall devices.
Right.
Here, throughout the contract, there's different things that, for security, so I would think there's, a couple of others here too. So I think that there's probably, he knows what he's doing, and I think that.
My thought would be that the risk assessment that's taking place quarterly is like a bigger examination. But my guess would be that behind the scenes there is probably ongoing
I'm hoping there is.
firewall and security support.
He does a lot of other government and private business accounts. And I think what happens is if he sees something at one place, then he gets, you know what I'm saying? If something happens somewhere else, he lets all of us know. And
The only other thing I saw here was a reduction in their annual fee by $600. Was there any reduction in services? I didn't see anything.
no, he just said it was just due to the decrease in his costs.
Just wanted to
So
make
he's
sure.
passing it on to
Okay.
the client. So.
Any further discussion? Bagley?
Aye.
Kelly? Aye. Lovewell? Aye. Morrow?
Aye.
Smith?
Yes, aye.
Terrio?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And I can get those answers for you from Bob.
He's very well respected in the industry.
Okay, we don't have any public hearings or action items under number 6 this evening, so we will move on to item number 7, reports by staff and committees, and we'll start with 7A, the National Incident Management Systems Overview Training for Senior Officials.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, fellow council members, manager. This is an actual training that's being put on by the Aroostook County Emergency Management Agency for senior officials workshop. It'll be held on January the 23rd from 9 a.m. to 11, and the backup date is January 31st from 3 to 5 p.m. I recommend that all the officials take this course. There are some federal grants that require elected officials to have NIBRS. This is a 401 course. It's kind of a basic. It just goes through emergency management and what we're required for our incident command system. Incident command is when the police chief, emergency management director, and the fire chief declare some type of disaster, and then we would call everybody in, and basically for the mayor and deputy mayor, who has the responsibilities to okay spending, along with the finance director.
Okay.
So,
Uh-oh.
Giving you my notice.
it's a 2-hour workshop. It's pretty easy workshop. It's kind of the basic of just how the system works and what your responsibilities.
Where is this being held, Mike?
I think you can Zoom it.
Oh, you Zoom it?
Yeah. You can either Zoom it,
You have
or
the
you
Zoom
can,
link.
it's at the Aroostook County POC at the
All right.
courthouse.
Are you actually holding two different courses, or is there a backup course
That's
this one?
the same course twice.
Okay, you're holding it twice,
Yeah,
okay.
So if you can't make the first one, recommend make the second one. They're always fun courses to really heighten your day for the next disaster that's coming down. Any questions? Thank you very much.
I had the same question as Counselor Lovewell, but there's 2 different sessions, so, okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay. 7B is our November financial report. So Carl, take it away.
Good evening, Mayor, Councilors, Manager. I have the narrative on page 11, if you'd like to follow along that way. I will be actually going through the pages that I'm reading from. So on page 12, November financials, the total assets at the end of November were $14,689,544.46. Cash on hand was $7,880,625.94. Going down to the bottom of the page, the 2023 tax receivables, we collected $282,056.10 in the month of November, bringing our year-to-date total to $7,579,927.12, leaving us a balance of $1,060,370.59. So far, through the first 11 months of 2023, we collected 87%. That's about 0.4% down from last year at the same time. Moving over to the next page, at the bottom of the page, you get the liabilities. Total liabilities for the month of November were $9,435,993.17. Moving over to page 17, our fund balance ending was at $5,253,551.29. Moving over to page 19, the expenses for the month of November. We had $770,000, $317.23. Our year-to-date expenditures were at $9,925,408.99, bringing our percentage spent to 84.1%, and that is down 7.6% to budget year-to-date. Moving over to page 24, our revenues for the month of November. We have $470,238.48, bring our year-to-date total to $10,467,155.52, bring our total collection to 99.8%, and that's about 8.1% higher than our budgeted figure. Just a couple side notes. Our excise tax collected for November was $118,008.09, bringing our year-to-date total to $1,568,422.17, and we are over budget on excise by 11.2%, about $91,000 compared to the same time over last year. Revenue sharing, we're at $180,280.89 for November. Year-to-date amount is $1,972,902.47. That's about 9.5% over our budgeted figure, or $168,000. And last, I have on page 29, I did our graph this month on the excise collected for the last 5 years. And obviously, looking at the graph, our highest months collected are during the summer months, when people, actually buy vehicles. They don't tend to buy them in the wintertime unless they have an emergency. You will notice in the black, they were wicked high in June and July of 2020. But if you look at the prior months to that, that's when COVID started. So March and April, they were really, really low, but they rebounded. And we pretty much came out the same for the year for 2020. Any questions?
That's not just vehicles, that'd be like ATVs,
That's
boats,
just vehicles.
just vehicles.
So Carl, back
Anybody
on
have
page
questions?
Oh, sorry.
Did you have a question?
Yes, I did. Back on page 19, can you remind us what happens to the money that we do not spend in 2023 at the end of the year? Because we're 84% spent now, and so December, or in November.
So according to charter, those funds get lapsed
Lapsed?
to 2025.
I asked that question today.
So we skipped 2 years. That's important for us to
It's
understand.
not really 2 years, it's
Well-
technically 1 year, because what they wanted to shake out so you can use it for commitment in 2025.
In other words, we can't use those funds in 2024.
We have in the past. If you guys vote to put it to reserve, you can use it immediately in the next year, but
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I believe we've done this before, that if we don't put that into the,
We did it for revenue sharing.
for revenue sharing the money,
When they
we
finally.
designate that into a reserve account at the end of the year before it lapses, and then we still can use it.
just gives you access to it.
Access to
But
it,
you do that before the end of the year.
correct.
which
We need to
didn't
do that at this meeting.
What's that?
We would technically really kind of need to do it at this meeting, or I guess we could do it at the next meeting. I don't think I'm going to be done because of the way the calendar falls. The 22nd is going to be a rush for me to get the unaudited financials done, so if you wanted to look at something for next meeting to vote on it.
And that's because you haven't finished the December financials?
No, I have
That's
not.
why we
And
have to-
like I
right.
said, with the calendar, the first fell on a Monday, so it's on the 22nd. It's hard for me to,
Yeah.
I need an extra week.
So as long as we do it fairly quickly after your December financials, to pull that over into a reserve account, nobody's going to have heartburn with that.
prefer to do it before I finalize.
How do we know what number to move then?
Well, the revenues aren't going to change. I mean, I can give you a draft of what those numbers will be to the manager,
Okay.
either tomorrow or before the end of the week. If you're looking at specifically like revenue sharing, or, I think revenue sharing, I looked at it really briefly, I think we're at like 182,000, somewhere in that area above our budgeted figure for 2023.
I'm just thinking any help that we can get in 2024, which is going to be a tough year, again, for budget, would be a good thing.
Are we required to go through audit, any type of audit process prior to having that money allocated into a reserve account or something like that?
So we could vote on this at the next meeting, once we have more information.
Would that be okay?
Would that be soon enough for you?
Do it on the 22nd?
Yeah, I don't, at this point, I don't think I'm going to be done by the 22nd, so.
Okay. Oh, do you have a
I'm
question?
thinking that, well, I guess the question clarified, because last year when we did it, we had 2 years ago, we had the money that came back from the school. Right. We also had the money, and we put those in 2 different lines, correct? One was a tax relief property, and the other one was just tax relief, but it was a separate line item
Yep.
to for that, so that's all I want to throw out there. And we were able to do that. We want to keep that money separate, so we could use it, if I'm correct.
I think you are correct, yes.
So there was two different, we still have it there to use, but we voted on that. That's all I can say. So.
That was revenue, not the lapsed appropriation.
Not the lapse appropriations,
That was
correct.
revenue. Because they changed the formula mid-year
Mhm.
for revenue sharing, so we ended up with like a mill's worth of revenue sharing, which the council voted, it will use that in 2023.
Rather than wait for the 2 years for the lapse appropriation.
Right.
We'll use it immediately because we voted and put it in whatever you want to call a line, just make a new one, 458, or call it anything, I guess.
But it doesn't make a difference that this is a different type of,
No, I mean, it's the same thing as
Allocation,
last year.
okay.
Last year
Perfect.
was revenue sharing, if that's what you
Well,
want to
that's all.
look at reserving again.
okay.
No doubt we should.
And, I mean, Carl said he can get that, you know.
Yeah, it's right around 182,000. I don't have that exact
Okay.
number with me, but
Are there other categories of lapsed funds that can be pulled back and used in 2024?
not that I see right
Not
at
that-
this
not
time. I
that's-
mean, me and the manager could look at different things if you want us to. I mean, the biggest savings we had was salaries because of
Right.
staffing that. So, and that's kind of hard to bring to a reserve because I have to balance salary expenses with workers' comp and all
Yeah.
that, so.
That would be the resource reserve account, 450.
I think it'd still be beneficial to know how much is available. I mean, I understand it's some work and I get it, okay? But I think it'd be beneficial to know the full picture, what we have that hasn't been spent to make our budgeting process easier for 2024.
Yeah, well, I'm still, like I said.
No, I know, yeah, you're finishing up, yeah. I'm the same way. I know about it, so it's, I get it, so.
I think he'll get that information to
Yep.
Manager Thompson, and then we could, if that's kind of, we can do this by consensus, I think. Is everyone in agreement that we might want to vote on this at the next meeting?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Does anyone have any other questions for Carl? Okay, what are the wishes of the council?
Make a motion to accept the financials as presented with the questions that we asked.
Second?
Motion seconded. Any further discussion? Bagley?
Aye.
Kelly? Aye. Lovewell?
Aye.
Morrow?
Aye.
Smith? Terrio?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay. On to 8A, adding coverage to main PERS for full-time dispatcher personnel. Okay. Penny, would you give us a little background on this?
That's why Chief Hagan.
Oh, perfect. Well, then Chief Gahagan, you get to come up to the mic twice in one night.
So, because of the lack of manpower that we experience, and we're down 3 officers, the supervisors and myself got together, and we trying to think of other ways that we could possibly help out with the overtime. One of the suggestions was that we establish dispatchers. Now, I say dispatchers. Both, we have 2. One was hired in November, and the other one was hired in January. They are both in the process of becoming full-time police officers. So we brought them in as dispatchers so that they can get the requirements to be first, if they could get the 200 hours, or if direct hired and send them to the academy if they pass their requirements of the polygraph, psych test, and physical requirements, and all these other things. So to help alleviate overtime, we established dispatchers. Luckily, one of the dispatchers was from the sheriff's office and who had been a dispatcher. And that individual has some main PERS time. We didn't want to lose that. So that's what we suggested, Maine State allows us for dispatchers to come under our retirement system, which previously they hadn't done it. So this is why we're asking, just to alleviate that time, and she wouldn't lose it. So that's kind of in a nutshell.
But once you buy in, isn't it there? I mean, you just, when you say lose it, they're not losing
No, you have
funding, they're
to be
losing
vested. You have to be
creditable
vested.
time.
You have to be vested, though.
You have to be
That
vested.
5 years vested.
All right.
So she doesn't, that individual wouldn't get what was contributed to her retirement. She would only get what she put in,
Yeah, I understand. Are these union or non-union?
non-union.
Non-union.
Because they're civilians, they're not patrol officers, so.
Right.
And again, it was supposed to be, we hope, is a temporary fix for, unfortunately, a long-term problem.
Yeah. I think it's a creative solution. It's just, it was very confusing to me as I read through it, trying to figure out what was going on. That's why all the questions.
Yeah.
And thanks
yeah,
for taking the time to
without-
answer those.
Without knowing the background, and, I mean,
It came
we have
from
a
like
possibly
nowhere.
180 overtime hours in a pay period. So we're paying them what we would pay a reserve officer.
Mhm.
So for budget-wise, it was a win-win situation.
So do we offer non-union and union officers and patrolmen the same retirement? Are they all under the main
If they elect to, if they elect to.
They're all eligible to
They're all
elect into
eligible,
it?
correct.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Counselor Morrow?
Okay, quick question. Okay, first off, okay, this is a non-union employee, hourly paid employee. My thing about doing this is what kind of precedent does it set for the rest of our hourly, non-union employees? I get,
I don't have any.
no, you don't, okay, you don't, we do, okay? So the rest of the city has non-union, okay, hourly employees, okay? That, we try to handle the same way, like with bonuses and those sort of thing. So, I'm not against it, I'm just trying to think of what kind of precedent are we setting to them? Okay, in other words, like, the rest of our non-union, hourly people, okay, who are working extra hours and all this sort of deal, should we be including them also? I'm not trying to be difficult, Mike, and I know about the overtime, and I know all this sort of drift, but the problem is I've always believed in keeping things equal. One is as good as the other. So I guess what I'm saying is, okay, I think what we've done here is some of our last recent actions here, we've kind of separated departments or given certain departments special privileges, but now I'm worried, okay, that we're sending a message to the rest of our non-union people who work for us just as hard, that this is what we're going to do, okay? So that's my...
But you have to remember that the fire department and the police department
Right.
are both have to have full force.
Correct. I understand.
Another department, if that civilian has a day off or doesn't come to work,
Right,
they get to stay home. I would have to bring somebody in.
correct,
It would cost me $250 a shift
yep.
to backfill that one individual.
I get it.
You can't compare departments and departments.
No.
We all do different jobs. The civilians all do great jobs, but it's just the nature of our job.
And I get that. My only point is, okay, is that it's the position, I guess, the title. And in order to alleviate the expense to the city, okay, for the added overtime, the cost to it, okay, I get it, okay, not a problem. But I just don't want the rest of our non-union hourly wage people to feel that we're doing something to slight them. I mean, that's my only point. I mean,
Do they not have access to that same retirement system?
Okay.
I was going to say they have a choice, right?
They don't have the choice to
They do
the
not.
main state retirement system, that's only fire and police and
Right.
dispatchers. They do have a choice for our ICMA, or whatever else.
They have other choices.
The city contributes to their retirement also.
Okay,
Yep.
I get that.
That was just my
Counselor
question. So we have somebody that, okay, thank you for asking that question, because they have the choice, so not necessarily all non-union employees are contributing to PERS. We have an employee that came to us, or come to you, was a PERS and wants
Correct.
to continue with PERS,
Correct.
rather than
Lose it.
lose it, I guess, I understand to lose it, but I don't want to argue that, I guess, but so, the rest of our union employees have other options, correct? I mean,
No,
don't have
No.
PERS.
Non-union.
Fire and ambulance.
So everyone else, because, only because that person came over with that previous,
That's a primary reason. How long until she or he is vested?
that's just my
Well,
question. So,
5 years.
And how many credits has she got?
Well, I think it's only been a year since she's...
So, okay, so, all right. This helps a lot, thank you.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to enlighten everybody. It was a situation that we were trying to eliminate, overworking what we had for the officers, and this was a way that, and we hope this is just a temporary thing, that we can hopefully get them in as full-time officers within the department. We've had dispatchers before, quite a while back, but we did, so,
A few years back.
yeah.
So this is going to be offered to all dispatchers, all dispatch positions. This amendment will pertain to any dispatch positions.
If we continue with the dispatch position, if they move to full-time officers, we won't need that.
Do you have other positions in the police department that this might also cover or might be helpful for, or is that it?
Unfortunately, it only covers full-time officers and dispatchers.
And those are the only positions that you have in there? Reserves are not?
Reserves are not, because they're not full-time.
Okay. And you don't offer full-time reserve positions?
There is no full-time reserve position.
That's what I was asking, if there
Yeah,
was.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
no. The state only allows them to work some 1,000
Okay, that was my
Yeah.
question. Okay.
Yeah, that I know, because I'm doing the yearly report for the academy.
Any further questions for Chief Gahagan before we let him off the hook?
I'm sorry.
Nope. Okay, thank you very much. So we do have a resolution, and I can go ahead and read that if you'd like. It says, whereas the City of Caribou desires to change its current Caribou Fire and Police main PERS plan effective February 1, 2024 for future service only, and whereas Caribou Fire and Police agrees to add coverage under Special Plan 3C to its full-time dispatchers who regularly work at least 40 hours per week, 52 weeks per year for service rendered after February 1, 2024. No changes to the plan currently offered to its full-time firefighters and police who work at least 40 hours per week, 52 weeks per year, who are currently on Special Plan 3C. All other employees, including city council members, are excluded from participating in Special Plan 3C. To authorize Penny Thompson, Caribou City Manager, or Courtney Boma, City Council Chair, to sign the amended agreement between City of Caribou and the Maine Public Employees Retirement System. Now therefore be it resolved by the Caribou City Council that the members of the Caribou City Council send this resolution to authorize Penny Thompson, City Manager, or Courtney Boma, City Council Chair of the City of Caribou, to sign the amended agreement between the City of Caribou and the Maine Public Employees Retirement System. So what are the wishes of the council?
Madam Mayor, I move that we postpone a decision on this until we can work through the latest letter that came in from the union, and then we can clean up the wording in this resolution. Postpone until the next meeting is the motion.
second that.
Motion and second. Further discussion? Bagley?
Aye?
Kelly? Aye. Lovewell? Aye. Morrow?
Aye.
Smith?
Aye.
Terrio?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay.
So before we move on, Is it appropriate to discuss that letter at this time, as long as we're on this agenda item? Or do you want to defer
I
that?
think it might be better discussed in executive session where it's a personnel
Yeah.
matter.
I wondered. Okay, thanks.
Perfect. Okay, items 8B, mayoral appointments to committees and liaison roles. And I think that you have a separate packet, actually, that has those listed for you. The one in the packet is not filled in. Okay, so has everyone had a chance to take a look at these? Okay, I did the best I could with everybody's suggestions that they sent in to me, and hoping that these will all be a good fit for everybody. Does anybody have any questions?
No, I'd just like to say, I think you did a really good job allocating these, all of these positions. And you were going to mention the elimination of,
Yes.
you want to do that now?
So, one thing that, in some discussion in the last week, kind of trying to figure out these committees was, and we brought this up at the last meeting, is there a need for a couple of these committees any further? One being the broadband committee, and the other being the airport committee. And so, I think that the thought from many of us is that we do not need the broadband committee or airport, and I did talk to Councillor Bagley, who has chaired those committees. Councillor Bagley, would you like to weigh in on that at all?
I move that we suspend or eliminate the airport and broadband committees for 2024.
Second.
Would that be a motion to accept the rest of these?
No, just
to remove those.
Okay.
those two, and then we'll talk about the rest.
Okay.
Great. Any further discussion on that? Okay, Bagley.
Aye.
Kelly. Aye. Lovewell.
Aye.
Morrow.
Aye.
Smith.
Aye.
Terrio.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Okay, so we do need to make sure that everyone is on board with the committees that we are looking at here, so,
You need to vote or just a consensus?
oh, I'm sorry, what was that?
Broadband. We did that.
We did
the-
both of them at the same time.
Oh, I didn't hear the broadband.
Yes,
thing. Okay,
yeah.
so that's the broadband too, okay.
Yes. Are there any questions about the other appointments?
I just asked that prior to a meeting that somebody send me an email or something, because I have very forgetful memory, and I think it's part of my old age dementia that's setting in, but I think if somebody just send me a letter or something, I would appreciate that, so.
Okay.
Pennies usually get about the AWS stuff, but it's usually 8 o'clock in the morning, and I usually don't get up for 9, so.
Being that I'm so new to these different committees, somebody will fill me in on the location and times and all those things, I assume, Penny or somebody else?
Yes, most of the meetings take place here at the city office.
AWS, but John is on that.
Okay.
Yes, for sure.
Okay.
Welcome.
You don't want me just to guess?
We would never make you do that.
Come spend the whole day here, I'll hit something sometime.
God, you never do it. Bring coffee.
Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to accept the platform as presented.
Second.
Any further discussion? Bagley?
Aye.
Kelly? Aye. Lovewell?
Aye.
Morrow?
Aye.
Smith?
Aye.
Terrio?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Oh, we're doing good here, okay. Okay, the next item is 8C, to establish a meeting calendar for 2024. That's on page 36 of our packet. Has everyone had a chance to take a look at this? Okay, I can read this. It is proposed that the following regular meeting schedule be utilized by the City Council for 2024. According to the Caribou City Charter, the council shall conduct regular meetings at least once in every month. In 2024, the Memorial Day state and federal holiday falls on the fourth Monday. Traditionally, those meetings would then be held on the following Tuesday. Additional special meetings, work sessions, or emergency meetings may also be convened in accordance with Maine open and public meeting laws and the Caribou City Charter. Do I have
Based-
suggested action?
Madam Mayor, based upon the fact that this is regulated by city charter, I make a motion that we accept the calendar as presented.
Second.
Further discussion?
Well, as I mentioned during the last meeting, during this last year, we met every 2 weeks, or twice a month. And I think we struggled to keep up, and we got behind on some things. And I don't see anything different for this coming year. So I'd really like to go to every, twice a month as we did this last year. So I move to amend the motion that is on the table to add the dates April 8th, May 13th, June 10th, July 8th, August 12th, September 9th, October 15th, and October 12th. And additionally, at least one budget workshop before the final vote on our budgets in March.
It turns out, and I did some research on this after our last meeting, and to amend a motion that's on the floor, you actually do have to have the votes of the council to amend that motion.
That's right, so that's what
Well, I
we
don't
do.
believe that's what happened last week, so that's why I wanted to just mention
It
that.
wasn't seconded, that was the reason. And so, if this motion
I
is
believe it
seconded,
was, but,
I seconded
it was not. And
Okay, well-
if this motion is seconded, we'll vote on it, and then we'll vote on the main motion, as amended.
I did second.
I'll second the amendment.
you seconded
second.
that motion.
Seconded the motion.
His motion,
So,
to go with
Counselor Morrow
the,
made a motion, and Counselor Terrio seconded that motion.
to take this.
And I move to amend that motion, the main motion, and Jody seconded it.
We have to vote on
Right.
that first.
You need a motion
It's-
first, correct?
No, you vote on the amendment first.
Let me see, I'm going to read this right here. So under subsidiary motions, to amend, which modifies something in the main motion before the assembly acts on the motion. Note, the assembly must agree to amend the motion and then agree on the amendment before the amendment can be thought of as the main motion.
Right. That's what we have to do next. That's right.
So we have to vote to accept your amendment.
Or not. And then vote on the main amendment. And this is a really good tool because for issues that come up that you agree with almost everything, except maybe one little piece, it gives you the opportunity to have a broader support for the whole thing with a little change. And so that's why amendments are used. I know it's frustrating to you for that, but there's value in doing
Well,
it.
I wouldn't consider that a small change to the amendment
Well, it's
or
going
motion.
from
but
every
okay.
month to twice a month. And
Anyhow.
twice a month is the status quo, and like I said before, we kind of have struggled to keep up with things as it is. So,
Well, I value your opinion on that.
thank you.
I think
So,
several of us see that differently, but that's okay.
okay, well, so we'll vote on it
All
and
right.
see where it lays out.
So just to clarify, we're voting on your amended
And
motion.
to add the dates
Okay.
and the
To
workshop
keep
in
it
March.
at 2 a month.
What were the dates? I just want to make,
Okay.
yeah, I just want to check against like the holidays, because we have
Yep.
some that were second.
There are two, October 15th and November 2nd are Tuesdays. April 8th, May 13th, June 10th, July 8th, August 12th, September 9th, October 15th, and November 12th. And a budget workshop in March before final budget approval. At least one.
To be determined.
To be determined, I'm fine with that, to be determined,
I would
but,
assume, because we don't know where we'll be at in the budget process.
before we vote on the final budget passage. I'd like to have a workshop.
So, is that what she means?
All set? Okay, any further discussion? Bagley?
Aye?
Kelly?
Oh, just decide.
No. Lovewell? Aye. Morrow?
No.
Smith?
Aye.
Terrio?
Nope.
No.
Make
Yeah.
a motion fail.
Motion fails. That was 4, correct? Okay. So now we can go back to our original motion. And it's been seconded. Discussion.
raise a point, okay. This motion was made because we're going to discuss the 2024 municipal budget. I think there's been some misclarity here. Most of the workshops, most of the council meetings that are held here with department heads are usually quite explicit. We have the opportunity to ask questions. We have the material that's presented to us way in advance, okay? That's when we make our decisions. I think what happened last year, we wanted to change decisions based upon other data, okay, that was presented, but the thing is, okay, when we have these people in front of us, okay, and anytime we want to make a change to a budget, it's very important to have the department heads here, and I believe that's the time when we cover that entity as a whole. And I don't like beating things right to death, but I believe that it's important that when we bring these guys, these people in here, okay, guys and girls in here, okay, that's when we ask the questions, we prepare because we have the information ahead of us, and that's when we discuss it.
I think the problem we ran into last time is we got a little behind, but also it takes a long time for the departments to go through their budgets, and which left us no time for us to discuss and go back and forth on what we're hearing and seeing. And so that's why I would still like to see a workshop, and we can schedule that any time, but even though the motion failed. So I'd like the rest of the council to consider at some point adding at least one workshop so that we can have our time to go over it and discuss things. We didn't do that last year, and I think the citizens of Caribou suffered for it.
Well, I think we did discuss the budget before we voted on it last year.
Not in the way that I'm thinking, in terms of workshop.
Well, you'll have the
It's just very
opportunity
little
to
time.
look it over
Everything
ahead of
seemed
time.
very, very rushed. I'd like to just take a little bit more time this year.
And Manager Thompson, those materials will be available well in advance, correct?
Yeah,
Of
so-
any reports by
Yeah.
department heads.
By charter, I have to have them to you by Monday. Week from today.
So there should be ample time for everyone to review all of those materials prior to when we,
The next meeting is when we'll start with departments coming in and talking.
perfect.
One year we did the NBC, it was like 7 hours.
Oh, yeah, that wasn't good.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
And after 4 hours,
Yeah.
you
Too much.
nobody knows what they like. I
Too
think
much.
the format we've been changing the presentations a little bit.
I'm glad you said that. You could go to the other extreme, and I
Oh, we did.
understand, I understand
Michelle knows, it was like-
people here at this table have felt the pain of 7-hour meetings, budget work, and I'm not suggesting that, but the fact
Suggesting.
that we didn't meet at all bothers me a lot, so.
Would it be worthwhile, though, I know we kind of discussed some, and again, I'm very new here, but obviously it's easier to add than subtract meetings, but would it be worthwhile to maybe save these as tentative dates should we need to add? Some people mentioned maybe needing to be out of town certain days, and then should we need to add meetings in the future for these following months? These could be our tentative dates that we need to add a meeting. These could potentially be those dates.
We can add a new meeting anytime we'd like to, so that's not a problem.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Any further discussion before we vote on this motion?
I do appreciate that we front-end loaded that first 3 months, knowing that we're going to have a lot of work to do in the budget. So that's a very positive thing, and I appreciate that.
All right. Bagley.
Aye.
Kelly. Aye. Lovewell.
Aye.
Morrow.
Aye.
Smith.
No.
Terrio.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay. And just when we thought we were done talking about budget stuff, here we go. 8D, establish a timeline to present and discuss the 2024 municipal budget. And that's on page 37. Did you want to talk about this a little bit?
This is really just for information, more for the new counselors, instead of trying to go through the whole charter to find out this information. The budget process is divided into 3 processes, which is expense, capital, and income budget. And this has the dates in here for that. Some of the dates, so that in the old times, we passed our budget in the fall. And unfortunately, there are still some old dates left in the charter from when that happened. And that might be something for the charter committee to think about changing, because we have some dates that don't really make sense, but a lot of those aren't here. Those have to do with things that are fall-time budgets. But basically, by the 15th, that's when you'll be receiving the draft budget. So that's a draft budget. Because the capital committee has until the 15th of February in the charter to get their, for them to meet and go over capital expenses. Sometimes with the income budget, by the time, we don't always know by January 15th kind of what projections are for the next year either, but it's a draft and we go with that. Complete city budget is by May 31st. We pass it before that, and again, I'm really not sure what the rationale was in there for May 31st. I have a feeling it was based on setting a tax rate before June 30th. And so this year Danielle has 3 elections. The one in June is when the voters will vote on the RSU budget. So the council doesn't vote on that. The citizens vote on that. If the citizens pass the RSU budget, they send us a bill and we have to pay the bill. That's it. And sometimes 200 people come and vote on a $10 million budget for the school. So we have no say, except for when we go vote individually about that. The other part of our combined tax bill that we sent out, we have all these meetings about our municipal budget. That's part of the budget, the RSU budget, and then the other one is the county budget. So generally, the county budget has been about 5% of what we're raising through property tax. However, this year, we're being billed for 18 months of county tax instead of 12 months of county tax. And that is because the county is moving to a fiscal year from July 1 to June 30th. Right now, they're on a calendar year. So they have already adopted their 6-month budget. And then starting in, I think, February, they'll be working on their 12-month budget. So before this council sets our tax rate, we will have 2 bills from the county plus our bill from the RSU. And we've received our presentation from the RSU about the challenges that they're having with their budget also. And so this is, when our veteran counselors are saying, this is going to be a tough year for the budget. This is why. I mean, we have, built-in increases for union employees that that's going to be higher from last year. And again, the RSU, we're looking for an increase. We know with the county we're going to have an increase because of it being 18 months instead of 12 months. Yes.
On that, at the end, I know we have to bite it all at once, but we're not paying double, correct? We're just paying.
No, it's just, we're moving to a new year.
We're moving to a new year, so we're not paying any more than we would. It's just coming at one.
It's just coming at one time.
At one time, correct? Okay, I just want to clarify that. 'Cause
Yeah.
people say that we're paying a year and a half. And we are, but we're not.
Yeah. It's not that they're double billing us or something. It is just because they're changing their fiscal year.
Does anyone have any other questions about this process? Or the timeline for the process?
I wrote lots, but not quite this many.
It's tough, and for the new counselors, just reach out to any one of us who've been through it. Spend as much time as you need to help understand it to the extent that I can. I don't understand it all either, but.
And it's separated taxation, separated taxation,
sometimes,
COVID one time.
right, we don't want to rush through
But
something,
if we have to work a few days for a meeting off, I don't think it's gonna be.
right. It started happening in 2017, which was a state budget year, and we had issues with, the state said don't commit because we have too many things in the air, and it just seemed when, the state wasn't passing their budget on time, and then every year it seemed to be something, I think we were okay in like 18 and 19, but then we had COVID, and they didn't vote, we didn't have our referendum election until July, and, it's just been, 21 was again the state with their budget wrangling, different times, last year was, we implemented new property values, so, things happen, some are under our control, some are not, so.
Thank you, Manager.
This year will be the year. Everything goes off without a hitch. All right.
Okay, so item 8E. Okay, this is an introduction of a Caribou Development Committee Chapter 22 revision. Okay, so after a recent meeting, the Caribou Development Committee requested that an additional non-voting ex officio member be added to the committee, the general manager of the Caribou Utilities District. Mr. Kirkpatrick's assistance has been very valuable to the group so far, and the committee desires to make this partnership official within Chapter 22. The change to the ordinance would need to be approved by the Caribou City Council following a public hearing on the ordinance changes. Any questions about this for Penny?
I have a question. I don't quite understand it, okay? Only because we understand, are we adding the general manager of utilities district? Is that basically what we're doing? Who I think should be at the disposal of the Caribou Development Committee? That's going to do, I don't understand why, as a member, the general manager of the utility district who's very, is very influential in the development committee, why he needs to be added to the committee specifically, I guess. Unless there's something I'm missing, I don't understand, but it's not a big deal, I guess, but whatever. I mean,
He ran and he wasn't elected to the position, right, the last meeting. So I think that they want to keep him on, and they're trying to amend to do that, from what I'm gathering, if that's correct.
Yes, so since the committee has been established, what we have determined is it's hard to think about any development within like the urban compact zone without involving the CUD and finding out where their assets exist, where we would need to have line extensions. He's been fantastic at getting all that information for us. So when we had an opening, I suggested to him, why don't, as a citizen, you think about joining the board. And it was actually the chair of the committee that said, well, instead of him running for a seat, I think we should have that position as an ex officio non-voting member, which the council liaison and myself are both non-voting ex officio members. So that whoever had that position now and in the future, it was just part of the discussion. And so that, if you had a committee member and no one on the committee would say, we're not going to listen to you, but we don't know in the future who might be on the committee that might say, well, we don't really want to hear from CUD. I can't imagine that happening. But what's interesting is when we were developing the committee, Councilor Morrill actually said, do you think you should have the CUD on there? And we didn't at the time vote on that. It was like an amendment to what we had presented, but it was very,
He said he didn't think we needed the development committee.
that too.
He changed his mind now.
So that's how that happened. Like, I had encouraged him to apply just because I thought for me that would be the easiest thing if he was just, appointed. But then the chair came up with the idea to amend it, and it was like an official part. That position just like the city manager and just like a council liaison. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but we went from 10 inches at 13 inches up to now Wednesday. That's just since we've been in this meeting. Does that answer your question about the history?
That's actually kind of what I thought was,
Yeah, and we found that his help has just been invaluable, and he's been very willing to help with everything, but we're just trying to formalize that. And also, his board, not that his board would give him a hard time, but if we say, hey, the city council really wants this cooperation, and, I guess it just formalizes it more than anything else.
So I make a motion that we set a public hearing for February 12th, 2024, consider an amendment to chapter 22, the Clearwood Development Committee.
Second. Any other discussion on this? The ordinance change?
Motion that the Clearwood Development Committee add an additional non-voting ex-officio member be added to the committee. This will be the general manager of the Clearwood Utilities District. I introduce the changes as presented.
If it needs a second, I guess.
So we still need to, yes, make the motion for the public hearing.
So I make a motion to set a public hearing for February 12th, 2024, to consider an amendment to the chapter 22 of the Clearwood Development Committee.
But then we just start one.
Since it's already out, like it is after this time, and then moving forward, okay. Any other discussion? Bagley? Aye. Kelly? Aye. Lovell? Aye. Morrow? Smith? Terrio? Aye. Aye, motion carries. We couldn't let Counselor Morrow make that big, long. All right. And then we are at item 9A, pages 43 and 44 of your packet. Okay, so this is about a public hearing. So the municipal officers of the city of Caribou, Maine will hold a hearing on January 22nd, 2024 at 6 p.m. at 25 High Street in the city council chambers to determine whether the residential land and buildings owned by Ashley Thomas and Michael L. Libby and shown on map 37, lot 60 of the current tax maps of the city of Caribou, Maine on file at 25 High Street is a nuisance or dangerous building within the meaning of 17 MRSA number 2051. So I think the approve the notice of hearing, correct?
Yes.
I have to have it recorded.
Okay, so
5285 9 Dangerous Buildings.
Any further